go. All right. Whew. All right, let's start standing on our mats. The first thing I want you to do is take a look at your feet, okay? Traditional mountain pose, we have our feet together. I like to offer you both options, okay? We can have our feet together or we can have them about shoulders width apart or hips distance. I want you to do what's most comfortable. I want you to feel the connection to your feet, okay? So first things first, if the feet are separated, shoulders width perfectly straight. Soft knees. Let's tuck our back just a little bit so we find length through the tailbone and then lift through the crown of the head. Let your shoulders hang down, and we're going to bring our palms facing forward, reaching the fingertips down towards the earth. Now I want you to check in with your neck. We want to lift, nice length through the top of the head all the way to the tailbone. Now close your eyes. This is going to challenge your balance quite a bit. We're going to do big inhales through our nose and exhale through the nose or mouth. Play with the weight in your feet as you find that connection to your breath, moving forward and back or side to side, or maybe even circling. I want you to tune in. Feel the connection. Maybe you lift your toes and you let them come back down to the earth. Maybe come up off the heels a little bit, but really bringing that focus down to the ground. Remember to lift through the crown of the head. We want to feel light and airy through our upper bodies and strong and heavy through the legs. Two more breaths here. Maybe you want to gently open the eyes up. We center off in the feet. Really feel that connection to the ground. That whole foot is Velcroed or suction cupped to the ground. And then we're going to bend into the knees and lift the arms up overhead. So bending into the knees, chair pose, sink down just a little bit. Now, if the arms ever hurt, just bring the hands to the heart. Just relax them, okay? Everything is about our bodies and listening to how we feel. Knees are lined up, okay? Even if we're together, same thing. It's up to you, okay? Arms up if you'd like. Sinking into it, remember how far you sink is up to you. This is still beautiful. You can challenge yourself and sit all the way down, but it's really going to be up to you. All right, one more breath here. Sink into it, feel those legs. And then release the arms, stand back up. We're going to come back to mountain pose. Connect to the feet. Lift up out of the legs through the crown of the head. Shoulders hang down. We're going to do chair pose one more time, feeling those legs burn a little bit, sinking in. Arms up if you'd like, or hands to the heart. Feel your whole foot connected to the ground. It's not a squat. We do not want the weight just in the heels. Whole foot connected to the ground. Reach through the fingers. One more breath here, and then release. Come back, stand up nice and tall. Really reach through those fingers, pulling the shoulders down, finding a nice relaxation through the shoulder, relaxing the jaw and the neck. This time we're just going to lift the arms up and lean back. Lift, look up, stretching through the front of the body, just lifting overhead. Really reach, 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 and then release. Let the arms come back down, back to mountain pose. Reach through those fingers. Two more breaths here. Every time, checking in with our bodies, right? How do we feel? Remember to listen to your breath. That'll tell us if we're pushing too hard, if we need to ease off a little bit. One more time. Inhale, lift up. Looking up, kind of leaning back a little bit. You can push those hips forward. Just a nice stretch. If the neck hurts, relax down. Don't go as far. Just lift through those shoulders, through the fingers. Big stretch, and then release. Come back. Mountain pose. Finding that good posture. Check in with that lower back. All right. We're going to come into our warrior. So I'm going to turn to the side so I step onto the mat. This time, as we lift the arms up, we'll sink into that left leg a little bit, and we're going to step back. Remember, we don't have to step back very far. We can take a nice small warrior. What's most important? The alignment in our legs, okay? You can leave your arms up. You can have your hands to the heart. I want you to check in with that back foot 45 degrees, okay? The knee should be in line with the toe direction, okay? So feel the whole foot again connected to the ground. So no matter the length of your stance, both feet are grounded and rooted. Remember that that left knee should not go over the toe. Okay, we want to feel connection to our feet. We want to turn our torso to straight and keep our shoulders down if the arms are lifted up overhead. Taking a few breaths here, I want you to feel strong through the legs, but try to feel light and airy through the arms. So maybe the arms come apart a little bit, maybe the hands come to the heart. Wherever you are, just try to release. All right, we're gonna push it just a little bit more, feeling the legs a little bit today, building strength. You're gonna open your torso up to the side. And we're gonna come into what's called warrior two. What's most important here? We wanna feel like we're centered, okay? So feel like you're vertical. If you feel any tension through the arms, turn those palms up to the sky and let the shoulders sink down. Check in with your left knee. Here, the tendency is the weight comes to the inside of the foot and the knee pulls in towards the center. We want to push it open. Remember to be careful with the groin area, so taking a nice small stance if necessary. Push out of both feet. You might open up your right foot a little bit more, depending on your flexibility. Never past that straight position or 90 degrees off the front foot. But we want to reach through those fingers, and if you'd like, look down the left arm. Almost there. 2 more breaths, and then we're going to come back into our mountain pose. So we can change into warrior one if you'd like, or we can just release and step forward. If you're feeling fancy, turn your right foot, come back to warrior one for a moment. Big breath. And then pushing out of that right leg, leaning into the left, step forward, mountain pose. Beautiful, challenging our balance a little bit. So coming into that mountain pose, checking in with our body. One leg's gonna feel a little bit more work than the other right now. Feel the connection to your feet, lift through the crown of your head. 2 more breaths here, shoulders hang down. How's your lower back doing? All right, we're gonna move into the other side. So same thing. This time, shift the weight to the right leg, lift the arms up, and then step back. Remember, this is a beautiful, beautiful warrior stance. We can again have that shoulders width apart, giving us that extra space. We can go as far or as deep as we want. Remember, the main thing is the alignment. Knee over ankle, not too far, okay? Whole foot's connected to the ground. If you're too far, you're gonna be able to lift your heel. Not enough, you'll lift your toes. Find that connection. Now check in with your left knee. Is the knee in line with the toe direction? Also, lower back. We want to avoid this kink. We want to tuck the hips down. We're going to stretch out the hips as well here. Arms up overhead or hands to the heart. Remember, it's turning from your torso. It's not turning from your hips. We're turning our torso to straight from our waist area. 2 more breaths here. Then we'll move into warrior two. So remember, we're almost there. Opening up to the side direction. Open up that rear foot just a little bit, never past 90 degrees, okay? Check in with the groin area. Take a smaller stance if need be so that we can keep our right knee in line so that that whole foot is connected to the ground. And remember, we're vertical. We're not going to lean into it. We want to really feel vertical. So maybe you look to the side first, and then you turn and look down the right arm, stretching out the neck. And again, if the arms feel any tension, palms go up towards the sky. This is our big push for class here, right? We're burning the legs. 2 more breaths, almost there. And then again, you can release the arms and then move slowly, or turn that left foot a little bit in, go to warrior 1 for a breath. And then moving slowly, push out of the heel, the toes, bend, and step forward. Coming into mountain pose. All right, great work. That is no joke, all right? We are challenging our balance. We are challenging the strength in our legs. Let's take one more moment with our balance, coming into tree pose, a little bit easier here, okay? Shifting your weight to your right, okay? We're gonna stay on that right leg. I'm mirroring you. Picking up your toes, we can touch with the toes. This is beautiful. We could come to our calf. We avoid our knee because we would be pushing on the joint. So the next thing we would do is to grab the ankle and come up. Remember, wherever you are, it's beautiful. Hands to the heart, arms overhead, or tree limbs reaching out to the side, okay? Whatever is going to allow you to find balance, all right? That is your goal right now. Now, there's a couple of things that will help. Picking a point dead ahead of you to stare at, and breathing. So take a few deep breaths. If the arms are overhead, you can have the palms apart. We want the shoulders down and relaxed. We're going to challenge our balance for 2 more breaths here. Remember to lift up nice and tall through the crown of your head. And then we'll release. Release the arms, release the leg, come back to center for a couple of breaths. Mountain pose, great posture here, right? Feet nice and straight. Fingertips reaching to the ground, head lifting up and tucking that tailbone slightly. Centering off our body, so then we can move into the other side. So this time, nice and slow, moving into that left leg. Shift that weight first, then pick up. Again, we can touch with the toes. We could come to the calf. We could pick all the way up. Wherever you are, hands to the heart, out to the side or overhead. Remember, make this practice your own. And one side is going to feel a little bit better than the other. We always have strength more on one side than the other, completely natural. Our balance is going to feel better on one side than the other. And we're just going to breathe. We're going to take 3 more deep breaths here. Let those shoulders hang down, picking that point dead ahead of you. And then release. Arms come down, release the leg. Back to mountain pose. And we're going to do 1 forward fold in a moment. So find that nice balance. You did all the hard work today. That was great. All right, this time inhale, arms up, and we're just going to ragdoll fold forward. So fold forward from your hips, arms come front or out to the side, up to you. Here you can bend into your knees if you'd like, stretching out that lower back. You can just let the arms hang. You could take the hands to the elbows. Wherever you are, just find a position where you can stretch out your lower back or behind the knees, the backs of the legs. Letting everything go. So important. We're going to do a 2-part to coming up. We're going to look up and out on an inhale first. So flat back, looking up. Exhale, hands to the hips. We're challenging our core here. Inhale, use the glutes and the abs to come all the way up. Nice flat back. Beautiful. Okay, 1 more forward fold. We're going to take our feet wider this time. Okay, so a little bit wider. Our last standing pose here, okay? When we're with wide feet, we really want to make sure that our feet are not turned out to the side. They're going to be perfectly straight, or if anything, turned in a little bit. That really helps with our knees being in alignment here. We're going to squeeze our shoulder blades together. If you want that little bit extra here, you can take the hands behind the back, lace the fingers together. Squeeze the shoulder blades really tight. All right. Lift and lengthen on an inhale. Fold on an exhale. And then let the arms hang. Maybe you let them hang for a breath or two. You feel that nice stretch through the shoulders and the backs of the legs, and now release the arms and let them hang as you find that stretch through the legs. Remember, we're really focusing on folding forward from our hips. You can place the hands on the ground if you can reach. You could just grab your elbows. One more breath here. And then again, that same coming up. So really using our core. Inhale, look up and out, flat back. Try to make a nice flat spine. Exhale, hands to the hips. So we're holding for just that breath, and then inhale all the way up. Release. Okay, however you want to get there. We can shimmy the feet, right? However you want. We're going to stand up and we're just going to check in with our body one final time before we join on our mat. So shoulders width apart or feet together, however you were practicing today. All right, let's do that check-in. Reach through the fingers. I want you to close the eyes again for a moment. Feel the difference in your body already from all the hard work you've been putting in. Lift through the crown of the head. Shoulders hang down a little bit more. We're relaxing our lower back. Nice soft knees. Weight is centered in our whole foot. Taking deep breaths, releasing any tension you might feel. Just checking in. How does your body feel different than when we first started class? And then gently flutter the eyes open. All right. Let's take a moment and let's come to sit on our mat. Moving nice and slow. If you're feeling fancy and you want to insert a forward fold and jump through, feel free. Otherwise, just come sit on the mat. Let's actually open up our hips first and foremost, okay? So if you'd like, you can sit on a blanket here. We're going to bring our feet together and butterfly the knees open. Having that blanket underneath you allows our hips to soften a little bit more. It allows us to sit up a little bit easier. So wherever you are, I always invite you to give yourself grace. Every day is different. So feet come together, knees will hang open, hands resting in the center at the feet, in front of the hips, on the knees, palms down or up. Whatever feels good for you, that is your goal today. So we're going to take a moment, lift through the crown of your head so the head is over the heart and then the hips, and then drop the chin towards the chest, relaxing the neck. So taking note of your breath. How does it feel different when we're sitting versus standing in all of those wonderful poses? Few more breaths here. Where can you relax a little bit more? Can we let our knees open and use gravity to help with that? Can we let our shoulders hang a little bit more? Can we relax the space between our eyes or soften the jaw? And release, coming back up. We're going to bring the knees together. We'll turn to the sides of our mat. We're going to do another little comparison. So turning to the side, stretch out the legs. Now move your thighs to the side so we can find our sit bones. hips, knees, and ankles in alignment. If our legs are tight and we find it difficult to sit up nice and tall, take a blanket, tuck it underneath the knees. That's going to allow you to sit up a lot straighter. So remember, alignment is everything in yoga. That's what we're going for. That proper alignment is going to help heal our bodies. So hips, knees, and ankles in alignment. Curl back those toes. Sit up nice and tall. We're going to insert a forward fold here, noticing how it feels different from sitting to standing. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward from the hips, and then release the head, neck, and shoulders. Remember to avoid that rounding of the back. Find a nice flat back. Length through the crown of the head, and then relax the head down. How does this vary from the standing posture? Does one feel better than the other, or how can we make them feel similar? Deep breaths here. Really trying to find that length through our lower back, finding the stretch behind our legs. 2 more breaths here. And then release, coming up. And we're going to come and lay on our backs for a moment. We did a lot of work today, so we're going to bend our knees, hands to the side, scoot forward. You can go down nice and slow, or use that extra core work to lay down. Have your knees up towards the sky. Maybe take a moment, lift the hips, bring that lower back closer to the mat. Hips, knees, and ankles in alignment, or feet out to the edges of the mat and knees in towards the center. Wherever you are, finding a relaxed position. We want to take a moment to fully release every inch of our body. So hands on the belly, palms up to the sky with space between your arms. Whatever is going to allow you to relax. Take a few breaths, enjoying that gentle rise and fall of the belly. Maybe feel the lungs expand into the mat. Big inhales through the nose. We're always feeling the upper lungs, the lower lungs, and then the belly softens and expands fully. As we exhale, the navel falls towards the spine. So easy to concentrate on as we're here on the mat. Gravity helps and our body just naturally falls into this position. All right, coming back, gently opening the eyes, bringing those hips, knees, and ankles into alignment. We're going to insert some ab work. All right, always starting out with the most basic ones. We're going to press our left foot into the mat and extend that right leg out nice and long. And this is half of a scissor. If you have the strength and you want to do the full version the whole time, feel free. Otherwise, let that right heel hover over the mat, and then we're going to bring it up towards the sky, nice and slow, so we can have the arms down the side of your body, pressing the palms into the mat. We could have the hands on the belly, bringing the focus to our abs. It's going to be up to you. But what we really want to do is move nice and slow. We're relaxing every inch of our upper body. We're keeping our lower back connected to the mat. And we're using our core to help raise and lower that leg as slow as possible. Remembering the slower we move, the more we're going to get out of this section of ab work. You can have the foot relaxed. You could curl back the toes if you want that little bit of extra stretch as you extend upward. Almost there. Remember to breathe. 2 more. Nice and high. and then lower down. One more. Lift up. When we lower down this time, we'll hover it right to the floor, and then we'll let it hit the ground. Stretch that left leg out to meet it. Arms come overhead, giving ourselves a break for a breath or two, finding length through the abdomen. And then release. Release the upper body. Bring the knees back, up, feet hit the ground. Hands on the belly, arms down the side of your body so the hands are next to the hips. We can press into the palms and shoulders if you'd like. Remember to keep that lower back on the mat. Press into the right foot, extend the left leg, hovering off the ground, lifting it up overhead, nice and slow. So effective in targeting our lower abs. There's another variation we can do, and I'll just talk you through it for one moment. We could have done it on the other side as well. When your leg comes up, as your leg lowers down, we can bring our hands behind our head and then crunch. So leg comes up, and then as you lower down, we crunch forward. Always being careful of our neck and shoulders. So lowering down, we lift the head and crunch. This is going to bring a lot more into the abs. We can work on that one next week as well. Let's do two more. Just something if you're playing around with your practice over the weekend and you'd like to include something new. Last one, reaching up high, hips connected to the ground, lower till it just hovers, and then release. Bring that right leg out to meet it. Arms overhead if you'd like, length through the toes. Stretch out those abs nice and long. And release. We're going to do the same sequence as we did yesterday. So knees coming up. Get that lower back flat on the mat. Arms to the side of your body, press into the palms and shoulders. We're going to lift our feet up off the ground. This should feel similar to a tabletop position as if you were on your knees. So what we want is our shins to be parallel to the ground. Now, if you already feel your lower back coming up off the mat, we're going to bring the hands underneath the hips. We take our thumbs together and our pointed fingers making a triangle, and then we tuck them underneath the hips so that when we lift our legs up, our lower back is going to be nicely tucked onto the mat. One makes it a little bit harder than the other, so we have to use more core work. Just accepting where we are every day is different. So pressing into the palms and shoulders, knees up over the hips, shins parallel to the ground, so legs are at 90 degrees. And we're going to scoop that right leg out like a bicycle and bring it back to the knee. So bring that left leg out to the ground, circling, and bring it back. So using the lower abs. If you have a full bicycle in your practice and you just want to do both legs at the same time, feel free. Otherwise, one leg and then the other. Really using those lower abs here, pressing into the palms and shoulders. Remember, our chin is lifted towards the sky. Do a few more, almost there, pushing hard through these abs here. Really building strength, which is going to help our lower back, help with our posture and alignment. We'll do one more round here, both sides. Last one. And release. Release the hands, hug the knees in nice and tight, stretch out that lower back. Release the abs, let them relax. We're going to stretch out those legs, finding that length through the toes so we can release the abs for a second. Arms come overhead if you'd like. Just finding that length through the front of your body. And then release. Can never forget our hips, right? So let's bring our knees back up, coming into some figure fours. Hips, knees, and ankles in alignment. Check in with our back. Nice straight spine. Okay, we're going to lift our right leg up, and then we're going to take the right ankle across to the left knee. While we're here, we're thinking about pressing our right knee towards that front of the mat. We're fully relaxing the head, neck, and shoulders. And it's going to be up to you. You can stay here. We could lift our right leg up off the ground just like before, trying to get our knee over our hip. Our shin is parallel to the ground, so we get a little bit more stretch in our hips. We can also lift the head, neck, and shoulders a little bit, so then we can bring that knee even closer and then relax the head, neck, and shoulders back to the mat. We can also take a strap, bringing that behind our knee, allowing us to relax fully through the upper body. Maybe you want to lengthen that left leg overhead. It's going to be completely up to you. I want you to find a comfortable position. Breathe through any tingling sensation you might feel. Taking a few more breaths here. Opening up through the hips. And then we'll release. So we'll bend that left leg, release the arms, let the foot hit the ground. Extend the right leg up and out, down to the ground, big reach, and then knee comes back up. Checking in on our alignment, nice straight spine. This time extend that left leg up and out, and then the ankle comes across to the knee. This time thinking left knee is going to push towards the front of your mat. Keeping that foot relaxed, we can stay here, pushing into that right foot on the mat. We could lift the right leg up so that that shin is parallel to the ground. Again, connecting with our lower back to the mat. Bringing the hands behind the knee if you'd like. Extending that leg overhead, or again, take that strap. Bring it behind your knee and use that to allow your upper body to relax. Remember that this pose is about the hips. Our upper body is just helping to open them, so it's nice and relaxed. Check in with your chin. Is it lifted towards the sky? Giving you a nice, relaxed neck. And taking a few more breaths. And then we'll release. So if that leg is straight, we'll bend the knee, release the arms, right foot hits the ground, extend the left leg out nice and long, and then bring the knee up, foot hits the ground. Coming into our final twist. Always great to insert these twists. Hands out to the side in a letter T, palms press into the mat, or bend at the elbows, palms to the sky, and the arms look like steel goalposts or cactus. It's going to be personal preference. If you have a twist you already enjoy, feel free to enter it. Otherwise, join me in lifting the hips to one side. Drop them to the mat. Knees come to chest, and then the knees hang across to the opposite side. Remember, we're trying to stack our hips. In doing so, our opposite shoulder is going to come up off the mat. We can complete the twist by looking to the other direction. Wherever you are, I want you to focus on your breath. We want to relax into it. We're letting gravity help again with opening up our spine, using it to our advantage. Wherever you are, take a few more breaths. Where can you relax a little bit more? We're always breathing down to our bellies. Remember, we can tuck a blanket between our knees if we want that little bit of extra space. Maybe that helps us tuck our hips a little bit more. And then we'll come back to center, moving nice and slow. You can take a moment if you'd like. We realign our torso. We draw the knees into the chest. Nice and tight. And then we let the feet hit the ground. Arms back out into whatever position felt comfortable. Entering into your favorite twist or lifting the hips, making a little bit more space. Knees to chest and then to the opposite side. Again, that shoulder's going to peel up off the mat as we stack our hips vertically. You can turn and look across. It's going to be up to you. Taking a moment. Again, letting gravity do the work. So we're just trying to let go. Maybe play around with the arms. Still breathing all the way down to the belly as we massage the internal organs, opening up our spine. Two more breaths here. And then we'll release. Slowly moving back to center. Realign your position. Knees to chest. Hug them in nice and tight. And then stretch out the leg. We can enter into our final resting pose here. Feet at least hips distance apart, letting them dangle to the side. If you'd like one more extra challenge and one more tightening of the body, it helps us relax a little bit more. We can curl back our toes, kicking out our heels. We bring the arms out to the side of our bodies, palms facing the sky, and we make a nice gentle fist. With this fist, we press our middle and ring finger into the center of our palms. By curling back the toes and pressing into the palm, we're activating energy points in our body. We're going to lift our head, neck, and shoulders up off the ground, tightening the abs. Then we lift the arms and legs just a couple of inches off of the ground, balancing on our middle and lower back. This pose is called balancing yin and yang, or it's balancing the fire and water energies in our body while we tighten every muscle of the body. So then in two more breaths here, we can fully relax. So breathing deep. Going to feel different as every muscle is tightened. And then now on your last inhale, take a sigh of an exhale and release. Open the palms to the sky, feet dangle to the side, resting in the eyes. Let your breath return to its natural rhythm. Remember that this pose is just as important as all the other ones. We need to allow our body time to rest after we put in all that hard work today, realigning our body. We're letting the energy reabsorb into its home. Remember, we're fully relaxing, resting the space between the eyes, softening the jaw, neck, and shoulders so our limbs feel heavy into the earth. Natural for your mind to wander. Just let the thoughts pass by. We don't focus on them. We just let them go. Try to lengthen that space between thoughts. If it helps to focus on your breath, you can place one hand on the belly, one on the heart, or both hands on the belly, focusing on that rise and fall of the abdomen as our breath returns to its natural rhythm. Remember, you've carved out this time for yourself today. Let's enjoy every moment. It's just a couple of minutes to relax and enjoy. We know we have this time for ourselves, so we can just be here now. Check in with the space between your eyes. And we relax just a little bit more. Few more breaths. And we'll gently start wakening our bodies, wiggling our fingers and our toes. Roll the wrists and the ankles. Maybe you want to tilt the legs side to side. I always invite you to lift the arms overhead, stretching from the fingers to the toes. One final time, like it's first thing in the morning. We'll bend the legs, lifting one knee and then the other, allowing us to lift the hips and roll over onto one side. Remember to move nice and slow, moving at your own pace. Taking a couple of breaths on our side if it feels good. And then eventually just making our way to a seated position, nice and slow, using that top arm to press up. We'll just sit in a gentle seated position. Whatever that means for you, let those shoulders hang down. Resting the eyes for a couple of breaths. And then letting a smile wash over. We'll inhale and bring those arms up overhead. Exhaling, hands to the heart. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and a great weekend too. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye.